Okay, so the first thing is to find the video reference. I'm going to go on YouTube. I always like to use this example because it's a little bit action, it's a bit more fun. So I'm going to choose a parkour move where he's jumping from one building to the other, because that's a nice example for next week as well, like I said, to put something before it and after, so it becomes all one sequence. You can use the same example that I choose, but if you choose something else, I need you to upload the video with the FBX. Those instructions will be in the Moodle, because if you don't use the same example, I need to see the video reference and how close you are to the video reference. So you need to be as close as possible to the body movement that you choose. Okay? So I'm gonna search for parkour. Sorry, parkour jumps. There's gonna be a ton of them. It's very important to choose a clear motion and a clear silhouette of the motion, because if you choose like a front view only, you might not get the best body arcs and motion involved. So always choose a video that has clear silhouette of what the guy is doing. That will help you translate those poses onto the control rig. So I'm gonna look at this one, see what he's doing. No first person, it doesn't help you at all. This one's good. Should I use this one? Okay, climbing might be a little bit complicated. Actually, this one wasn't bad. I like that flip. I want to show you a little. I don't know if you guys know that. Actually, should I do that one? Let me see if it works here. So I don't know if you know this little trick in YouTube. Frame by frame for keyframing is going to be your bread and butter. So you can press the comma key and the dot on the dot to go frame by frame. There is another way, easier way. You can download this video and use keyframe MP. So that's what I'm going to do now. Because the nice thing about it, if you, let's say your internet is down or you're working from home or whatever, you have that video locally and you're working with it. So I'm going to see what kind of, what do you guys use to download these days? Videos? Anybody? The extension? There's an extension?
I think the App Store has some.
Oh, no. Okay. Let me see. YouTube. Let's try this. YouTube video downloader. Install. Hope this is not spam. Oh geez. Simple extension. Maybe? Oh, this Vimeo? Okay, let's try it. There's used to be a lot of extensions, but I guess this one, let's see. Okay, let's see what this one gives us. Might be able to. Ad block, there's no ad block. Okay. What? Which one? Okay, let's try that. Which file is it? I have to download something. Okay, the whole folder. Okay. Let's try that. That didn't work. Stupid. Ah, okay. I have to make it so difficult. Okay. Okay. So what you have to do finally, after you download this extension, it's called YouTube Video Downloader. You download the zip file. It's a zip file. You unzip it. And then you open it up and you just drag the whole folder. But before that, you have to turn on developer tools. So you go on settings, extension, more tools, settings, and you turn this on because you can't drag and drop the folder. And then once you do the turn on developer mode, you drag and drop this folder on it to install it, and you'll have this little button here. So now you can download videos to your heart's content. So I'm going to download this video. Choose 720. It's good. And then we go on downloads. It should be right there. I'm going to open it up in keyframe MP because you can go frame by frame. In the beginning. This one's I'm going to take this one. I'm going to stop wasting time. Okay, so I'm going to take this one. So this is nice candy because I can put a run before, jump, keyframe, and then maybe a roll here afterwards next week. Okay, so I'm going to take this one. I'm going to start here. It's nice silhouette, side motion. The nice thing about keyframe MP is you can put it on top of Motionbuilder, so you can sort of see the video and your control rig at the same time. So if you go and edit, always on top, it's always going to be on top of everything on your screen. Okay. All right, back to Motionbuilder. So I'm going to get rid of this character. Well, I can't get rid of lens school. Man, let's see what I do this. All right. I'm gonna just load up a character. If you guys remember, we went through these last week. If you don't get it, just add the samples folder from the S drive. I'll choose Aragor. Open all, no animation. So Aragor is already set up with the control rig, so you don't need to worry about last week's assignment. So I'm just gonna turn on the control rig. And now I can move things around. Yes. Okay. So first step, if you know a little bit about animation, we're gonna go pose to pose. So we pose each pose from the animation. So like this first pose, obviously that's coming from the run, is a pose. Anticipation, he goes down, starts preparing to jump. This is another pose. Lift off, this is another pose. So we need to translate. Yeah. I'm sorry? Land school? Oh, it's not working anymore? Maybe that's why it's stuck in the screen. Okay. Just want to try to close it. It's not showing up. Lesky, I don't know what that is. Good? Everybody? So yeah, we're gonna go translate these poses first, and then we do a timing pass inside Motionbuilder. Okay, so I'm just gonna explain a little bit what's going on in here. I know I went through it super fast during the first week, the overview. So in Motionbuilder for keyframing, there's kind of 3 modes. Actually, there's 2 modes: full body key and a body part key. What a body part? Anybody remembers this conversation? So, what is a full body key? Yeah. Yeah. So a full body key, you're putting a key on all the body parts on the control rig, which is these 2. The difference between these 2 in terms of manipulation on the control rig is if you decide to move the hand, if you're on this mode, the leftmost one, and you try to drag the hand, it's going to drag the whole character. This is what we call in Motionbuilder pulling. It pulls the whole body to what you're doing with it, like to the extent of what you're doing. So when you press a key in Motionbuilder, which is K, it puts a type of key here, red key. So that means all the body parts on the control rig have that key. So it's setting a key on every body part. The second one, rightmost, the sort of the control rig, blue control rig icon, it's the same kind of full body key. When you press K, it will give you a red key as well. But the manipulation is different. So if you select the hand again and you pull it, see, it doesn't have that pull on the control rig. So this is the difference. Just to make it easy for this assignment, work with this one in the beginning. When you're creating your poses, work with this blue dude, blue control rig icon. If you see that you're doing the other one, chances are you have this one on. It might be by default this one is on. So just switch to this one just to make it a little bit, the manipulation a little bit easier. And the second type of key is body part. So this one is, if you think of it as limbs. So what you're keying is the left limb, right arms, left leg, right leg. So that's that kind of thing. So now if I keyframe the left arm, see, it puts a green key. But any other limb or body part doesn't have that key. You know, it's a little confusing. It's something to get used to, but it's once you know what it is, it's pretty easy. Like when I say limbs, I mean like anything from the shoulder down has that key. See? So now if I select I'll freeze it in a second. So any part of the left arm has that key. If I key the leg, see, it puts a key on all that left leg. Okay, so I'm going to delete those keys. And the other thing I want to touch base, so just to show you the difference between, if you remember when we talked about it in the first class, green means IK. These round circles means you're selecting the IK effector, if you remember. So this mode here, the display, this is the sort of the FK rig, and this one is the IK rig. Sort of at the extremities of the arms and legs, you have what we call an IK rig. This is how you control the movement on the control rig. The difference is if this one is green, the interpolation between the keys is a bit different. Okay? I'll show you an example. So let's say one of the arms is in IK. And usually when you're in IK mode, just a second. Yeah. So usually when you're in IK mode, if you remember, we said the hand is stuck in space, in the 3D space. So it doesn't move. So it tries to stay in that position that you set it in. For example, like this. So see, I switched the IK on the arms, on the right arm to IK, and now when I move the pelvis, it stays. So this is the difference in terms of manipulation on the controlling. In terms of keying, I'll show you the difference too. So let's say I want to do like an up and down motion on the arms. So if I'm going to switch to body part because I only want to keyframe the arms. Okay? So I go to frame 0, I put a key here, and then I go down to frame 10 and rotate that shoulder. Okay? And then I put another key. I'm going to do the same thing with the other arm that has an IK effector on the hand. The IK is activated. Okay? So if I put a key here, and then I go down to frame 12, same frame, and I move it, and I want to show you the trajectory of the arm. I'm going to keep this one on, set on selection. Yeah, so it keeps it on. See, this is the difference. The left arm is in FK, so the trajectory. Think of the interpolation as it's inheriting what the parent is doing. The left hand is not IK'd in space, so it's not going from point A to point B linearly. It's actually rotating using the parent of that hand. So that's why the trajectory of the hand is smoother, because it's not IK'd in space. While the right hand is going from point A to point B because it's in world space, it's in IK space. I know it's a little bit hard to understand right now, it's your first time, but just keep that in mind once you start keying. By default, the pelvis is in IK and the feet are in IK for a reason, because 90% of the time, let's say you're doing a walk cycle, or in this example, a parkour jump, you want your feet in world space to have contact with the ground. So anything to do with contacts, you want the IK turned on. Okay? This is just so you understand what if you're getting weird interpolation and weird blends between the keys, this is probably why. So I would just keep everything in FK for now, and just keep the pelvis and the feet in FK space. Sorry, the pelvis and the feet in IK space turned on green, because sometimes Motionbuilder is buggy a little bit. You might those IK will turn off, so you might see them off. So if they're off, just make sure you go to frame 0 and you set them to green, by doing this. So let's say you open your scene and you see your pelvis like this. It's gray. The first thing you do before animating, before touching your scene, go to frame 0 and just turn them on using these two. So this is your IK translation and IK rotation. Okay, let's move forward with the fun stuff. I'm going to start my first pose, which is this one. This one's coming from the run, sort of like a run passing pose, if you want to call it. I'm in full body using this mode. Okay, so I'm gonna make him. I'm gonna go on the side and start posing this guy. So it's basically kind of a running pose. So your hips a little bit low. I can use the rotation, just rotate him a little bit because he's leaning forward. I'm going to take one of the feet. Make sure it's flush to the ground. View. Front. So right now the feet are not flush with the grid, so I'm just going to make them a little bit flush. Go back to perspective. And I think the right one. Okay, so I'm going to freeze the mesh so I don't keep selecting. Anybody remember this trick from last week? Yeah? Yeah, go ahead. What is it? Groups, perfect.
You uncheck the two red boxes and kind of select them.
Excellent. So groups, create, call this one skin or mesh, and uncheck. Okay, so if you can see here, the foot is a little bit rotated. I'm just going to take it, make it a little bit flush by using rotation. I'm going to start putting a key and removing these keys, test keys, because I don't need them. So it's always a combination of translation, rotation, translation, rotation. There's no scale, so you can't scale. You don't have to worry about the scale. Combination of translation and then rotating the bone to get what you want. Okay? He has some skinning issues, so don't worry too much about it. You'll see the shoulders popping on this guy a little bit, so he's not. You don't have to use the same character. You could choose another one. You can choose the Venom one from last week. It's up to you. Where's my video? Okay, I'm gonna just put it here on the side so at least I see it. Okay, so his right foot is a little bit, it's okay, that it's gonna blend from the run, so it's okay. We can cheat a little bit. So I'm gonna do the spine. So now the nice thing about IK effectors, you don't need to choose every spine bone. You can take the top spine bone, which is this one, and move it forward a little bit, so you get that nice C on the spine. So that's the advantage of using an IK rig, is you have more manipulation, if you want to call it. Okay. There's one thing I forgot. Yeah, by default, the FPS is 24. I'm going to switch it to 30. Hello? What the hell is going on today? Wow. Okay, it looks like it's going to crash. You know, You're gonna get all these lovely issues in the video because I cannot pause the OBS. I cannot pause it. Nope. It's okay. I mean, it was just an explanation. It's my first pose. Wow, this day is gonna go down in my books. Computer, sound, the video. Man. Okay, time to kill. Okay. Sorry, guys. This is not. Doesn't look like it's my day today. Samples, characters. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna redo the groups. Skin. Create the control rig. Everything is working. Yes. Okay, I'll save this time. I don't keep doing the same thing over and over. Desktop? No, D. Forgot. Joe. So I'm gonna save this one in anims because it's an animation from scratch. So I'll do parkour jump. I like to save in increments. This way, if something goes wrong with your Motionbuilder file, or things happen, Maya, Motionbuilder, anything. So you have sort of backups on top of backups. Motionbuilder has a system for backups. There is a, if you go in settings, preferences, savings, there is a backup in here. See Windows temp, and it saves every time you do Control S, it puts another file. And there's also where you save the file, your working file. Where you save your working file, which is dtemp joe anims, it creates a folder called .bck where it increments each file. So it's good. There's backups everywhere, but it's handy you create your own incremental work. So this way you know what you saved and where you saved and stuff like that. So backups on top of backups. Okay, where were we? First pose. So yes, switch to 30 frames. Make sure snap on frames is on because you don't want to keep between the frames. And type of key auto, it's okay. Keep it for now on auto, and we'll worry about it later. Usually you can delete if there's a layer, you can delete it. We'll talk about layers after, if there's still time. What we need to focus today on is actually the animation. Okay, here we go. So bring him down, rotate his pelvis because he's in forward motion. Key. This one was in passing. Yeah, this guy's T-pose is very... Should have chosen another one, I forgot. This guy was not built properly in the building section. So right now he's a little bit, his pelvis is a little bit centered. So usually when you have one foot, you want to favor the weight on the planted foot. So just to create some interesting, or do it properly, body mechanics, you need to put the hips on the planted foot. So move it sideways, and then we take the spine and move it down. And where's the video? What is it? His arms are kind of in motion. So what you do, bring it down. I'm gonna set a pose for the fingers because this is one of my pet peeves. This kind of mitten fingers, we need, please don't submit anything with this. It's super simple just to create a simple pose. Just choose the IK effectors of the fingers, click rotation, go in local, and just rotate them. It actually increments the rotations on all the bones, so it gives you like this kind of motion. You can actually do it on all of them at the same time. Okay, so just make a little natural pose for him. Bring in the thumb. See? Way better. So I'll show you a little trick what we call mirroring. So you can, I'm gonna create a pose, save. So in here, pose control. There's a pose here already, so it doesn't matter. So you can create a pose, what you have here, okay? You create a pose, and then if you don't want to redo that thing you did with the fingers, you can copy paste that pose on the other hand with what we call a mirror pose, mirrored pose. So you go in pose control. There's a bunch of options here. Don't worry about it for now. We'll maybe next week, I'm not sure. What you want to do is you want to turn on the mirror. Turn on M. You will see the plane of where is it gonna mirror to. So it's split down the middle, which is by default, that's what you want. So you turn on, go pose control, mirror. You select the pose, you select the fingers on the left hand, on the right hand, I should say, and you paste. Okay, so right now we're in full body. It pastes the whole pose mirrored. We don't want that. So you click undo, you switch to body part. The fingers are another limb, so they're separate from the hand and the elbows. The hand, the elbows, and the shoulders are one limb, but the fingers are separate. Okay? So look, there's a key here. There's a key here. Okay, there's a key on the fingers right now, just because we set a full body key previously. So that's why there's a key. But the way to paste a pose just on the finger, you have to be in body part. Okay? Switch to body part, double click on the pose, and it pastes that pose we just created only on the finger but mirrored. Same thing with the legs. If you make a pose on the right leg or left leg, you can paste it mirrored on the other. So that's how you use pose control, just one of the features. So back to the video. So he's kind of anticipating to actually, finishing the run to anticipate. So we can do this kind of. It's hard to tell what he's doing before. Okay, so maybe, see, that's another good pose to mirror, because it's kind of in the same location as the left arm. So press a key, and then I'm going to update this pose because I brought the arm down. Update. Select the other arm. Make sure mirror is on. Paste. Okay. So what that gives me, it gives me a really nice quick, instead of the T-pose arm, just gives me a nice really quick pose. Then I take that and I just offset it a little bit so it's not exactly symmetrical as the left arm. Okay. Always think asymmetry when you're creating your poses. You don't if you're not, unless you're a robot, you move kind of symmetrical. But if your character is a human, always think asymmetrical poses on both sides. I'm just gonna maybe tweak the head a little bit just to make it a little bit more natural, like he's looking where he's going. I think that's good. Can move on to the next pose. So here, this is the anticipation to the jump, because right after we have the lift off. So he goes from here to here. That's his lowest. If you look at the pelvis, anticipation usually is, the lowest on the body before he lifts off. Okay. So I usually, in the beginning while creating the poses, just keep some spaces between the poses. Don't go frame 0, frame 1, frame 2. Leave some, maybe like 3 frames. So count 0, 1, 2, 3. And then this should be your next pose here. Okay? I'm going to switch to full body. And then mimic this one. So here he's moving forward. We're going to move forward and push him down. So yeah, so the right foot is planted, so we cannot move this one. So this one is going forward. I'll show you a little trick here. So what's going on with the foot here? It's sort of the rotation is locked. Okay? It's because we pinned the rotation of the ankle IK effector. So you can temporarily release that pinning or orientation fix. How? You can click on this guy, release all pinning, which will release these two temporarily. So now if you manipulate it, it will kind of free it from the rotation constraint that was before. The icon still displays that it's pinning, but if you click on that pin, it will actually release it from the pinning. It's kind of a toggle on and off. Okay. So I moved it, but the rotation is a little bit off. So I'm going to do, be careful how much you push the legs. When you start doing this, hyperextending, you're going to get into some problems. So just always try to give some leeway on the limbs, on the arms, on the legs. Don't try to extend it fully, because your in-betweens is going to probably mess up as well. So always give it some leeway. Rotate in local. So now he's really bent down, but I think the pelvis is in the good good height, because you want to look at the negative space. Maybe a little bit forward. Yeah, you want to look at everything on the silhouette. The negative space, the how much spacing on the legs. That's what you want to be looking out for. So now that he's transferring the weight on the left leg, you need to push the pelvis on the left leg, kind of sideways. Also, I don't like this. See, you don't see this in the video, but the foot is actually probably pointing outwards. In our pose, it's pointing inwards, so you need to adjust that. So don't rotate this in global. It's not bad. You can. It's not going to break anything. I always like to. I'll show you the difference. If you're rotating global, this is what you get. If you rotate it in local, see, you kind of it's a different angle because the axis is different. So it doesn't matter as long as you don't see breakage on the joints. That's what you need to pay attention to. Okay. And we pull him more down. Yeah. And tilt the head up. Yeah, you can see the skinning starting to break here. It's not, he doesn't have the best skinning job. So now I can pull the arm. The nice thing about it is you can select both hands and pull them forward. So you can do multiple manipulation. So if you press Control, oh, the keyboard shortcut is down. Another one. Yeah. Okay. So let me activate the shortcut. Hi. Oh, yes. I was going to bring it during the break, but.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks to you. So, yeah, if you select one, then hold down Control, select the other one. You can do multiple manipulation, multiple angles. So now we did this, but the elbows look like chicken elbows. So how do you fix this? You can select the elbows and try to rotate it, but you're going to move the whole arm. You don't want that. So how do we pin? Anybody can tell me? What's the solution? I want to keep it interactive so I can keep you awake. Some of you. How do you pin the arms? Yeah. Yeah, but which body part do I pin? The elbow? You're close. Yeah. The shoulder? No, you're going up. So you pin. Okay, so what you don't want to move on the body part? The hands. You got it. So I pin both hands, but here's the trick. I'm only going to pin the position. Okay? If I pin only the position, I move the elbow. This is what's going to happen. The hand is still going to have rotation, but it's going to be stuck in place. It's going to stay in the same spot. So if I activated the rotation, this is what's going to happen. It's going to pin down both position and rotation. So this is the beauty of pinning. This doesn't exist except in Motionbuilder. I'm selling Motionbuilder, right? This is the beauty of it. There's nothing like it. Even the best Maya rig probably doesn't have that. So you pin just the position and you move the elbow. Key, same thing with the other one. It's kind of there. Yeah, it's not bad. Maybe pull it in a little bit to match. And this one, I think he's trying to start with the right arm to lift. I'm just going to rotate it a little bit. Somebody had a question? Or yeah?
Can you also control select both of them to do that rotation with the elbows?
The elbows, let me try. So both elbows, never done it, but it's worth a shot. Yes. Good point. Another trick. For me too. Cool. So this is another pose. It's pretty close. So I like to always I'm just gonna go 50 because it's a bit long. I like to always check what's happening before. So just sort of a little reward for you. If you want to see the progress, just go back and forward, and you can see the thing moving. You know, can see him start to see moves. So it's like, oh yeah, I got something. So because it's such a long process, this is a kind of a nice way to see your progress quickly. Yes? Oh, there's no keys here? I deselected the control rig. As soon as you select something, it comes back. Yeah, so you need to have something selected on the control rig. Okay, so the shortcut to go from frame to frame is the arrow keys, right arrow and left arrow. So yeah, everything seems okay. So we'll continue. I'm tempted to go a little bit further. I want to try the lift-off pose, which is this. So anticipation, lift-off, where the leg is extended. So let's try this. And I'm just going to advance 1, 2, 3. Put a key and save. Motionbuilder has a nice feature. It gives you a saving. Remind me after 5. So you will see it pop up here like a red button, save. So it kind of reminds me to keep saving. Okay, so now, did I switch? Yes. We can go further. See now, like look at the hips. They're really, if you want to see the orientation of the hips, go local. Because it gives you a good idea how much tilt you have to go. So go local and rotate to match what you see in the video. So okay, don't worry about the spine. We'll fix it. And he should be really forward. If you look at the, actually let's do the foot. And I'm gonna raise the whole character up. So this is a neat trick too. You can, right now, if you try to move him up in, yeah, that's all. It's gonna work. There was another trick I was gonna show you, but I don't want to go too many tricks. Let's keep it simple. So I'm gonna move him up. See here, the leg, it's almost like a straight line. So try it as much as possible to get that without like breaking it. See, this is probably too much. Just give it some leeway, a little bit of leeway. And I would look at go down like to see the line of the grid, because right now the foot is passing. I would just bring it up a little bit and then bring up the pelvis again. Okay. Press a key. So I'm gonna switch back and forth a little bit. Okay, see? So technically the foot is gonna land somewhere here. So my pose should be, this leg should be here. Oh, I didn't press a key. So it's somewhere here. So if I move it here, press a key. See, this makes more sense. I'm going to hide the control rig so you see it better. Because he's stepping forward, right? So technically from here, the toes is going to land forward. So this is closer to where we want. Actually, the foot's going to plant and then take off, right? Yeah, so it's going to plant and take off. It's closer. So now the foot is in the better position. We just need to move the hips to match what's in the video. The other foot is kind of flying in the air, rotation. I want to say this should be outward. It feels natural to be outward, right? Yeah, that's good. And then we fix the spine. And maybe we can move the arms there a little bit dangly, because we just finished almost. Okay, we almost finished the lift off, so he's kind of throwing his weight forward. It's close, right? Yeah. Maybe we can push the leg a little bit to be more straight. Yeah. Then fix this one. It's a little bit higher in the video. There we go. Okay. So what's the next one? So because we're doing rotation here, you probably need a couple more extra poses to make sure the rotation happens okay. So after the lift off, I would, before he does this, I would actually, I'm going to try create the tuck, this pose, because technically this is the apex of the jump. So I'll create this pose and see how it blends with the previous one. Okay? It might work. And again, go forward, 1, 2, 3. Don't worry too much. Oh, see, save. Don't worry too much about the timing. We'll create the poses and then we'll adjust the timing. Video. So here, so I want to move the whole body. Okay, I'm going to have to show you that trick. So right now, if I try to move the pelvis, the the legs stay where they are because they're in IK. If I click the release, okay, it doesn't work. The release on the full body only works in this mode, full body. Don't ask me why, that's how they built it. So if you choose this mode and you have your release on, you release all the pinning. You can do whatever you want. So just to get the displacement of the hips up in the air, use this mode. It's okay. So what's going to happen now? Yeah, the trajectory is good. So you can move him and rotate. Let's see how it's going to blend. Oh, I didn't press the key. It's not bad. I'll show you what the problem is. If you went too far, okay, that wasn't far enough. If you go too far, it will turn the other way. I heard something. Yeah, I don't know. It's okay. So if you go over 180 degrees, it will probably do the closest rotation and go the other way. That's why I was saying you might need another pose. So just keep in mind when you do rotation on the full body, keep in mind if you go over 180, it's gonna pick the closest rotation, it's gonna rotate the other way. So try to keep your rotations under 180. Okay? So if you need to create another pose in between, that's the trick. But in this case, we don't have to, so we should be okay. And I think I went too far with the hips here. Maybe not. Oh. Went too far. Lift off, apex, somewhere here. Yeah, it's a little bit too bent. So local, because technically the hips rotation is like this. It's a little bit 110 maybe, or 100. Something like this. Let's try this anyway. Okay. So we go back to this mode. Tuck in the legs. Oh, yeah, it's okay. We can keep the pin, release the pinning. And the other one is going down. Feel like the legs are a bit too close to each other, or maybe for the tuck it's needed. Let's keep it like this for now. We'll see. Yeah, we'll take a look after. Okay, spine. Whee. And take the head. Yeah. And the He has some long arms, so we might have to adjust. Okay. This one, I think it's already grabbing the thigh, so we'll put it closer. Yeah, we won't be able to hit the exact, so maybe we'll just, because he has different anatomy. Hands always, I like to always rotate in local, because this way I don't break the wrists. Like this is broken, obviously this is broken. So just be careful with the, because if you stay on global, you can stay on global and rotate. It just, there's a high chance you might break it. Not break the rig, but break the, visually, like the hands will look broken. So if you stay in local, you're kind of rotating in the local axis of the hand. Whatever, that's close enough. Okay, let's see what we got here. Cool. It might be he's too, actually, let's just play it. Nice, huh? Still got it. It's getting there. We'll worry about the displacement. He might not be displacing too much. Because if we'll play the video and the poses, yeah, we might have to, we'll worry about that later. That's okay. Let's get the poses, and then, so here, yeah, we might need the pose before planting. Because here he's opening the legs, preparing to land. So I would probably do this one. Go case by case. If you're not choosing this video, just go case by case. What makes sense, right? You need to nail down all those poses. So here, save. Thank you. Want to undo. Put another key, and if you move the keys by mistake, just undo or bring it back. You select it and you bring it back. It's no problem. Yeah, this one. So again, same trick. Go in this mode. Make sure pinning is on, release pinning is on. Select the hips. Translate. He's going down, so you need to bring him down a little bit. And rotate. Kind of like this. Let's see. Maybe it's too high. So scrub. All good. Rotation is good. We didn't go over 180, so it wasn't a problem. So back to the video. I just want to see. He's actually, yeah, he's not going down too much. Might work. Let's try this. The heights we can adjust later. We can turn on the trajectory, and we can see a visual representation of the curve, and we can adjust. Okay, I'll try to finish in half an hour. I might go a little bit fast just to give you like half an hour to try things before you leave. Again, I apologize for the technical problems. Wasn't planned. Switch back to this mode. This. arms. Just maybe take it up a little bit. I think he's preparing to land, so he's gonna start looking where he's landing in case there's a pool or I don't know, somebody, he's landing on somebody. In here, so we don't need to tuck anymore, so I would just open up. Okay, pinning is off, so I would take it off. Release pinning is off, so I would just take it off a little bit. And maybe adjust the feet a little bit so they look more natural. And open the other one up a little bit, because we finished the tuck, so technically we don't need it. Okay, so this pose is good. I can probably go to the first contact, which is this. Alrighty. Advance, 1, 2, 3. Save. And same trick. Release, full body, go down. Actually, I'm gonna see if I can copy. No, they're not the same. I thought they were maybe close. I can try. I'm gonna try. So here, this is the opposite here, right? The right foot is planted, correct? Yes. So the right foot is planted, but in this pose, no, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same. So I'm gonna update this pose. Go to this pose. And I'm gonna copy the whole pose, okay? Boom. So he's gonna go to that initial position we did. So we need to move this to move it forward. So keep the release pinning off, full body, and I like to do these sound effects. So now what you get is similar pose, you just need to adjust it. Okay? It's getting you closer to the pose that you want. It's really quick. The pose control is really powerful. So if it's there to use it, if you want to use it, use it. He might be too forward. So if I put the trajectory, it's not that bad. So let me see. Yeah, he might be too forward. So bring it back here. Okay, and his hips. Let me see, back and forth, back and forth. Yeah. So I'm gonna release, take off the pinning. This one, and look at the hips. The hips are still pointing up. He hasn't landed fully, so we need to rotate it. Rotate. Hips up. Facing up. If I go on local, you'll see the rotation. And take one of the legs. No, the other one, the left leg. Yeah. Looks like a kick. Makes it more fun to do those sound effects, by the way. I know it's not funny, you're tired, you want to go home. It's okay. Almost there, almost there. All right, so it's pretty close. Pull back the spine. Head forward. and he's a little bit off balance, so we need to bring the arms back. It is fine. Key, maybe just offset one of them so they don't look too symmetrical. Okay, so how does that look? So if you want to go frame by frame, the shortcut is control right arrow, left arrow. Left arrow, right arrow is you go to the poses directly, but frame by frame is this control plus right arrow or left arrow. That doesn't look too bad. And the last pose, boom, the landing both feet. That should be the last pose. Promise. So I believe we can fly. Can I copy this pose? No. Yes? No. Let me try. So it might work. If I copy the whole pose mirrored comme ça. Okay. Ça marche. And go to this mode, release spinning, and move him forward. Kinda. We'll see. Not so much. If I don't use mirror. Yeah, that might actually work better, actually. Because did I copy on the wrong one? Oh, okay, I created another key. So, yeah, because the right one is planted. So what I want to do is just move it back a little bit. You want to be able to match. That's close. Keep the right foot planted, right? So here the body rotation is forward. It's close enough. It looks. We can just tilt it a little bit. Whoops. Go back to this mode. Take off the release pin. Just rotate it a little bit and move it forward because the left foot has landed. So we take the left foot. So what I can do in this case, I can mirror just the foot to make it flush. Okay? Not exactly flush, but it's okay. You can move it manually or you can use what I did, the trick I did. I'm just trying to go a little bit fast, so I give you half an hour. I think he needs to be a little bit more lower, just to give that nice landing pose. Because look at the negative space we have here, and ours is a little bit off, right? Yeah. Maybe a little bit lower. He's a bit taller, Aragor, so we need to adjust. Okay. That's good. Spine a little bit, I think it's in the good place. Maybe just raise up the head. and arms forward. Again, same problem. We can use the little trick. Bring it forward. I think this one is a little bit higher, the right one. So maybe just put it there and then bring down the elbow to get that nice little angle. Okay, I'm gonna stop right here. This should be the last pose. So let's see what we got. Woo! Nice. No applause, nothing. No? So right now it's very Charlie Chaplin, if you wanna. It's very sped up. There's no timing on it. So before we do the timing, I'm just gonna check the trajectory. It's a little spiky here. Probably too high, or maybe the other ones are too. Maybe so. I'll do a combination. Bring the apex, the one on the apex, and the other ones before and after, just bring them up a little bit, so just to have a nice curve on the hips. I want to move the whole body here, so I'm going to go full body, release spinning, and just bring down the apex and go back and push up a little bit on this pose, and this one, push it up a little bit. See, it's a little bit smoother. Okay? And don't worry about the before and after. Like I said, next week we'll go through it. So now we need to fix the timing. Save. Because all the timing is even. So here, this push-up, I think the push-up is okay. It just on top, maybe we can slow it down a little bit. So you select the keys and you give it a bit more space. Select those keys, give it a bit more frames. So what's going to happen, he's going to slow a bit more. You're adding more frames, obviously it's going to be slower. Okay? In here it's okay. Maybe here. I mean, you can use the video actually for reference. This one is a bit fast too. I feel like the push-up may be a bit. Actually, let's use the video. So let's roll back. I think this one is slow-mo. Oh no, this is slow-mo. Okay. Roll back a little bit. Try not to pick a slow-mo video. I didn't even notice it. Because a slow-mo video will give you the wrong timing. Okay? You probably have to tweak the timing by yourself in Motionbuilder. Okay? So, apologize. Pick a video without slow-mo. It's better because you have a better sense of timing. It's more real time. So we won't use the video for timing. You can just adjust it in Motionbuilder. So I think liftoff is okay. It has to be fast. And then slow down and land. I think landing could be faster because you're going down. Let's check. Yeah. Let's see. I think the beginning is okay. I want to add a little bit. Yes.
What keys are you using to like move the marks?
These ones,
Yeah.
you just select them, and then to move them, you need to be on the green space, because if you if you move it from the keys, you will scale everything else. So make sure your cursor. That's a good point. Your cursor, when you move keys, make sure your mouse is on the green area, not on the key. Okay. So select and click, hold. Oh, that key thing has disappeared. Beauty of open source. Okay, so click, hold down, and then move. Okay? I'm going to create a little bit more time on the apex. I feel like here he's going down too fast. And then the landing could be this timing. Let's see if this is better. Okay. I'm gonna make it loop. You can make the playback loop, and just make the timeline maybe 35. This way there's no dead frames. It's not bad. Play with it until you're happy. I think it feels good. You can feel the lift off a little bit. You can probably accentuate the apex a little bit. So, all right, this is the apex. So this way you feel the contrast between the takeoff and the apex of the jump. So maybe we can accentuate this one. Let's see. Yeah, maybe too much. This one is, yeah, spend enough time on the timing. It's easy to change it anyway, so it's not a. Yeah, I wish we picked the right video, because the video will help you a lot. I'm sure there's in the video there's something. Damn slow-mo. You could still get a sense of timing even there's a slow-mo. Because you can count the frames, right? So one, two, three, 4, 5, 6. So 6. You count 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one is correct, and then no, actually it's here. 1, 2, 3. Which one was the next one? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, this one is way too fast. Maybe it's this one the problem. But again, we're counting frames in slow-mo, so it must be by half. Yeah. So maybe we just needed a frame. That feels good. Okay? So let's go with that. I'll give you 5 minutes break, come back. If you want to start, you have questions, Why do I feel everybody wants to go home? Wasn't it fun? Keyframing is fun. Come on. It's awesome. Once you see this result, that's my big surprise at the end. It's hard work just to get it going, poses, video, but once you see this, that's the reward at the end. I still get a kick out of it. So that's it. I'll stop the video. Question, yeah?
Do you have to do a jump?
No, but just think about next week, because you're gonna use your key whatever you do this week. You can stitch a mockup. I mean, if you want to look at the sample folder, the previous folder, and the Mixamo stuff, and just get an idea what can you keyframe in between, kind of. So you don't have to stick to the same video I did.
So it could be like punching or something?
Sure, yeah, by all means.
So we have to have this ready for next week.
Next week, yeah, Wednesday next week. I'll upload the Moodle right now with the video and everything, so you guys can have it. Yeah.
And also, do you want us to use just the default characters?
You can use the default. You can use the Venom from last week. It doesn't matter, whatever you choose. If you do use another video, please include it in the upload. So FBX and video, because I want to see and try to trim it, so I don't look at the whole. If the video is 2 minutes long and I don't want to, just trim the section that you use and upload that one with the FBX.
Is there a specific format you want?
Doesn't matter, as long as readable by keyframe MP, that's fine. Okay? Thank you, guys.